Hey guys, it's Joshua Ingalls and I'm here with Chris Papadopoulos. This man is killing it in the real estate industry. He started in 2014. Last year he did over 100 flips. This year he's about on track to do about 135, just crushing it. Has some awesome systems that I want to share with you. So Chris, first off, thanks so much
Thanks for having me,
agreeing
Josh.
to do this interview. This is a big honor to have you on. So give me a little bit about your background. You started in 2014. How'd you get started?
So I started in 2014. I had an online e-commerce business, and I had about, we sold dropship things nationwide, and I also had a big warehouse space that we were leasing, and it had about 12, 13 employees. It was a little too crazy, and I ended up selling that, and after I flipped my first house and realized that I can have a lot less management and a lot more profit in a period of time. So I ended up selling that and started doing flipping houses full time in 14, and it's just kind of progressed over the years and gradually grown from there. And again, in 14 we did about 20 houses. In 15 we were right around the 50 mark. In 16 in the last year, and 17 we did about a little over 100. So just kind of progressing from there, and learning as we go over time what things to do and not to do, and it's just kind of built from there. Yeah.
So tell me about your very, very first deal. It sounds like it went well, obviously, because you decided, hey, I don't want to do this other business anymore. I just want to do real estate. So walk me through. I mean, most people that I've talked to and interviewed, usually their first deal is some sort of horror story. So
isn't that how it usually goes?
Okay, yeah. Well, a lot of the investors, even the guys that are doing it high level, usually their first one, it doesn't go quite the way they want it to.
I don't think it was quite that bad. It was a foreclosure, it was painting carpet, kind of sick from the beginning.
So you kept it as a simple rehab.
I will tell you, from the first couple deals,
yeah.
For example, like one of the first several houses I flipped, I was cheap, right?
Yeah.
I went in there and installed every light fixture, every little plate cover, I did everything myself. And I will never do it again.
Yeah.
And every time I write that check now to a guy doing the work, I appreciate him, and I have no problem writing the check.
Yeah.
So those are kind of things I learned from the first couple houses. I don't mind it. I did that sweat. I don't. You appreciate that.
You learned a little bit. I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I think almost everybody I've talked to on their first deal, they were swinging a hammer, and doing something they had no business doing.
I learned that's what I like to do.
Yeah.
So that's good. It's a progression over time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So that was a foreclosure on your very first deal. So how did you fund that deal?
Bank financing. I just went and got a loan from the bank.
Okay. So did you get like an FHA loan?
Just a regular. It was a local bank that did the financing for it. I put 20% down, and then, it was longer process, 30-day close, and did the whole entire thing, and then I paid off the personal loan in my name at the end.
Yeah.
And then later brought in private lenders at that point a little bit later, which are a little bit easier to work with and charge a little bit more rates, but they can close quickly and do the whole entire thing. So kind of progressed to the private aspect from there, and then now we're kind of using personal funding.
That's awesome. Yeah, you bring up a great point of using local bank financing. I mean, a lot of people out there don't realize that they can get local bank financing, that it's available to them. And that's what it sounds like. So is it just a local bank in your area?
Yeah, it's a local local credit union.
Okay.
And they're not too stringent on their parameters, so they were able to just a regular 20% down loan, and purchase the property and go from there. But kind of what I realized after that fact was even going to an individual or even like a larger capital firm that will lend money against the properties, that even if you're paying, instead of paying 5%, you're paying 10%, that someone will close in 3 to 5 days compared to a month, because that private bank's going to close in 30 days. That became a little bit more valuable.
Yeah.
So we kind of pushed both directions over time. Yeah.
That's awesome. So walk me through deals number 2, 3, 4. How did you find those? How did you fund those? Most
of those are actually core house auctions. Things were a lot less complicated during that, competitive during that time, and you could get a decent margins on stuff and be able to find decent deals on things. From then it kind of became a little more competitive, and we had to look at other avenues, like working with people who are directly marketing to homeowners and getting them through that avenue, MLS, auctions and online websites and things like that. I mean, there's not just one avenue, there's a bunch of different ones, but there's definitely opportunities everywhere, just to constantly looking at all aspects at one time. Yeah.
So awesome. So we're used auctions. How are you getting your deals today?
For the most part, wholesalers, people who are directly doing the marketing and putting the upfront work and spending the time with the homeowners, building that rapport and doing the upfront work, paying them a fee for what they've done, because it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And and basically working with them and develop relationships and partnerships with a lot of guys. They usually will call us first. Hey, I got this. If I can get this price, I'm happy. Let's move forward. They don't want to deal with a bunch of people and sometimes try and max it out and things like that. But other than that, still doing courthouses and MLS and online auction websites and things like that.
So Chris, I don't think I mentioned. So what market are you in? So wholesalers, if you're watching this, you want to talk
I'm
to
in Raleigh, North Carolina.
All right. So if you're in Raleigh and you're a wholesaler, this guy can close.
Yep.
And he can close quick. So.
Yep. So yeah, we're in Raleigh. I mean, fortunately, we're in a good market in Raleigh.
Yeah.
Like a lot of places, it's hot right now.
Yeah.
A lot of major metropolitan areas. I mean, right now they said for 2018, Raleigh is the second hottest market in the nation.
Wow.
That's right after San Jose, California. So it's pretty good. It's a tech hub, things like that. But yeah, I mean, the market's great, just like in a lot of areas to where there's a shortage of inventory, usually 5 to 6 month inventory. We're at 2 to 3 months right now, so there's buyers just waiting, and then people are ready to go. So it's a good time to be flipping houses.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're using wholesalers. Are you doing any direct marketing yourself?
I don't do any marketing myself.
Yeah. Well, you're busy with the 100 and some flips you got going on. So.
Yeah. But I mean, I spend most of my time just networking with people, and they just kind of bring them directly, and it's just a lot easier.
Yeah.
Like literally, I can buy a house with just knowing numbers in a spreadsheet in like 5 minutes compared to spending hours and hours and hours with an individual homeowner and leverage the wholesaler's time and pay him a fee for that instead of knowing it's going to for sure happen compared to maybe things like that. So yeah.
So somebody might be watching this and they might be doing maybe 5, 10 deals, 20 deals a year, and they're like, man, my life is a mess trying to organize, just keep these deals straight. How are you able to do 100 a year and keep your sanity, and what systems do you have in place?
Sanity is a good word. No, so I had a pivotal point when I was doing about 50 houses. It was about a year and a half ago, to where I was working like 80 hours a week. Yeah. And I was killing myself. Yeah. And all of a sudden, I just what am I doing? I just this is crazy. I got to stop doing this. So at that point, I kind of looked at kind of all the projects I was taking on and what made sense and what we got the best return on time for. Not money, but time. Like what was actually paying the most per hour, like of what we were doing. And I realized that the things that were less complicated and the things that we could do quickly, for example, a pretty cosmetic makeup house where there's $20,000 or $30,000 in rehab that you can turn around in a less than 30-day time frame, for example, pays a lot more than that $100,000 rehab over a 6-month time frame and things like that. So, long story short, we just shifted the model over from complicated stuff to less complicated stuff, to put it simply, and then we hired a project manager and some things like that to kind of take off the workload as well. So that was kind of the two pivotal points: changing the business model and then bringing some people in to kind of make it work more. So now I'm only not working.
So now you're only working
I can work 30 hours a week.
79 hours a week.
Yeah.
All right, so let's walk through what do you do from the time you put a property under contract? What's your process from purchase, or maybe even before purchase? What's your strategy that you're using from purchase to sale, again, to keep that process moving, streamlined?
All right, day I buy it, or even prior to me buying it, if I have the keys, I want to get all the quotes. Like if I'm 2 weeks out in the closing, I want to have every single quote by the time I do the closing. Yeah. So when I say quote, I mean really just getting 3 painters to come quote the house, and having them lined up the day you close to come and paint the house, because the painters you can narrow that time frame down a lot by just having everybody lined up back to back. You got your painter guy, the day you close, he comes starts painting, he's 3-4 days. After that, you have the flooring guy lined up, he comes and does the whole house. You could have paint and flooring done in a week. Yeah. And then after that, you got your finishing guys, they come in and do all your rest of your light fixtures, your simple things in the house, appliances, plumbing, backsplash, yada, yada, yada. And then, there's your 2-week period, and maybe you get the last week for a few final details, and so you can really do a $20,000, $30,000 flip in 3 weeks. Yeah. It's very possible, and if you efficiently plan everything out and have everybody lined up, and then turn these things in 15 to 30 days, put it in the market. It's going to usually, hopefully, and at least in our market right now, things usually sell the first weekend. If it doesn't sell the first weekend or within the first 2 weeks, there's something wrong with it. Yeah. It's either overpriced or there's some kind of conditions with the house for whatever reason it's not selling immediately. So, and then you do price up, things like that. But from there, so typically you're, from start to finish, if everything goes accordingly, about 90 days. Most people have a 30 to 45 day close, depending on what type of loan they're doing. So, maybe it goes a little bit over, but, basically say 3 to 4 months.
Okay.
From start to finish.
From start to finish. I think that's been crucial in your success. You're taking on, for the most part, smaller jobs versus taking on $100,000 rehabs or additions or anything like that.
Yeah. We don't do any additions. We don't do any huge rehabs. Like nothing older than 1950. We try to stay really, if we can, 1980s and newer. Again, staying under $60,000 in renovations.
Yeah.
Really prefer to be under 40, stuff like that. If a large renovation, we're going to add an addition on, it's going to take an extra 2 months. Things like that, we try to stay away from an economies of scale standpoint in order to do things quickly.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot more sense.
So, so it sounds like you're hiring subs. It doesn't sound like you're hiring a general contractor to do your work. It sounds like you're hiring the painters. You're hiring the trim finish guys,
Sure.
right? Doing the backsplash, the tile. It would seem to maybe the people watching, or just in general, a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to have to coordinate all these people. I'd rather hire a general contractor to do that. So give me your thoughts on general contractors.
I love that question.
Yeah.
I love that question. Why? Is because no one cares about your business as much as you do.
There you go.
You know what I mean? No one cares as much as you do.
Yeah.
We had some general contractors. I still use a couple,
sure,
if it's a really big deal. But usually, on a small house like this, it's not really that much work. To when you have a relationship with a painter that you've used for years. All I do is text him the scope of work, and he texts me back a price after he goes and looks at it, and I say yes, and then we agree to it, and he goes and paints the house.
Yeah.
I sometimes don't even talk to these guys on the phone. I just text them a quote. So that's streamlined. A lot of our contractors are more like. When I say contractors, are doing they're maybe installing a deck, they're doing the kind of minor things in the house, but it's not like a huge job where they can pull permits, do this whole entire So you can streamline those guys, give them set prices for everything, and they can push through it very quickly in a moderate period of time. But it's not that much work to really manage them once you develop a relationship with them, and you've used them a lot. These guys are loyal to you.
Absolutely.
And they want to continue keep working because they know you have the next thing lined up for them. And they just want to go back to back to back. I have some guys that don't want to work anywhere else, and they say, "What else do you have?" Because I don't want to go anywhere else. Because they just know it's simple and easy. So, yeah.
Yeah, and you're a lot easier to work for than a homeowner that's,
Exactly.
You've got your system down, they're in and out, bam, they can move on to the next job. They're giving you better pricing too because it's a repeat business. So you touched on something that I want to talk about a little bit. You said set pricing, so let's dive into that.
Okay, so first I want to clarify when I say set pricing is basically some of the details in that just really quick is basically, for example, a light fixture, the guy's getting paid $30 to install a light fixture. A backsplash is, between $250 and $350. Appliances are $150. Set things, a toilet's $50. So, those are things that I've seen that has helped and really streamline things. We used to lose time getting quotes. It would take a week to get a quote for something simple that really is just not that complicated. And so we just basically, before we start working with someone, give them an entire spreadsheet of, hey, here's what I pay for something. And then sometimes they'll come back and say, you know what, that's not enough.
Yeah.
And and some guys will go and back and forth, and they might want an extra $30 here, but they're less over here, and it really all washes out in the end.
Sure.
But really the point of that is that it helps efficiencies because when they go to the house, they don't have to call you and talk to you, and you don't have to have a conversation with them. They just go.
Yeah.
There's no pause. It's just go, and they can go to the next one after that and they just send you an invoice. It's fine. You might have the various little things like a deck to replace a deck, and then you want to get a quote for some things there. You're not going to cover everything in a general price list, but the point of that is I feel like it really does help streamline things and kind of push it through, and you guys, you agree on things ahead of time.
So are they giving you bids then, or you're saying, hey, I want the light fixture replaced, I want the backsplash installed, and then since you already have the set pricing, they don't have to bid it. You already...
Yeah. So every house is the exact same thing, pretty much. They're replacing all the hinges and doorknobs. They're replacing all the light fixtures. They're gonna install new toilets, pretty much. All the new plumbing for the granite or the brand new vanities.
Yep.
So it's the same thing on pretty much every house. So at a certain point, they know if it's not brushed nickel, take out the gold and put brushed nickel.
Sure.
They know if it's got all light fixtures, take them out. They're going in the trash room, putting brand new ones in. So it is. They know what to do. You put brand new smoke. All that little stuff. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you've got set pricing. How are you working out the materials? Are you specifying the materials list? The materials list is always the same for every house. Are they buying it? Are you buying it?
So basically, two templates of materials. There's the house under 250, 300, and there's the house above that.
Okay.
Most of them, 80% of them are below that 250 mark.
Yeah.
So, there's just the same exact light fixtures and everything we use for every single house. Might mix up the backsplash here or there depending on the neighborhood, depending on what it is. But so we don't actually pick up the material, but we pay for the material. So the guys can go to Home Depot, get their entire list for the house, buy everything at once, take it with them and start. Or you can go on homedepot.com and put everything in a shopping cart, sometimes what we'll do, and have it ready at the house for them when they go there. That might save them a day of getting material.
Yeah.
You're just trying to move quickly and get time. So go on the website, get a PDF format, get your entire shopping cart. You can pay for it ahead of time and have it sent to the house, and bam, they can just show up 8 a.m. Monday morning and just roll through it. That saves them a day of getting material.
Oh, yeah.
Also saves you money. So it might take me 20 minutes, or not my assistant, 20 minutes to put everything together and send it over, but it saves them 3/4 of a day.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But it also saves me money because I'm moving quicker. So anyways, we pay for all the material because it's easier for us actually to do it that way. From an organizational standpoint, these guys don't have to float the cost. They can just move a lot quicker. You don't have to worry about them losing receipts. And also we get a discount on everything with some programs that Home Depot has set up to where you save on material. And actually, you might get 10 to 20 to 30% off. For example, we have a deal right now, we get 25% off on all cabinets.
That's awesome.
So all cabinets are just 25% off across the board, things like that.
So tell me about what if they need a box of screws, right? How does that work?
So there's this thing with Home Depot, it's called text to confirm. So these guys always, on every single house, have to go back several times.
Yep.
And they go to the pro services, they run it through, and they send you a text, and you pay for it over text message. It takes about 5 seconds. You can see exactly what they're buying, what the discount is, and it's pretty straightforward. And you do have that little level of control because they know you're seeing what they're.
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
know that you are seeing what they're buying, so they're not going to go. That fluff factor in there kind of takes that out as well. So.
Yeah, I had a contractor once try to put a lava lamp on.
Are you serious? Are you serious?
Needless to say,
they even sell that at Home Depot?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know they sold that.
He's like, I thought I separated that. I'm like, yeah.
If you weren't going to see that lava lamp on the receipt, what the hell?
No, well, we saw the material.
Yeah, right.
So exactly what you're talking about. So
of course.
Sometimes, you got to obviously work with contractors. You can.
You never know. You never know.
But that's why it's good to have that, so you can look through that.
Yeah. That's funny.
So I want you to maybe give some advice to maybe somebody that's struggling in their business. I mean, you're just crushing it right now.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody's going through struggles in their business right now, in their flipping business. What advice would you give them? Maybe they lost money on a deal, or they're just overwhelmed. Do you have any advice for them?
I would say make mistakes, because what a lot of people do is they just don't do anything, and that is worse than just never doing it at all. Like they don't act and they don't take action and they just think about things too much. I have a lot of friends that are trying to get into it and they're just overanalyzing things. They're like, hey, what about this? What about this? What about this? And they just think too much to where they just suffer from analysis paralysis and just don't ever get anything done. I mean, a lot of the ways I've learned is just through making mistakes. Yeah. And you have to do that, and that's just part of it, and that's just part of growing and part of, becoming better. But at the same time, the other thing I found in the beginning was it was hard for me to pay for expensive lenders. And I think initially, when you first get a deal, you just need to suck it up and pay. If you have to pay a couple points, you have to pay a larger interest rate, just do it. Yeah. Get the deal under your belt and just go and just get the flow. You'll find better rates. That was one of because I'm a kind of a cheap person. It was hard for me to pay those higher rates in the beginning. And now looking back, I was just like, just go, just do it. And really just kind of getting in there and just doing it. I mean, really, this is the biggest thing. I know how simple that sounds, but it's just really, for a lot of people, that's very hard to do.
Get out of your own head.
Yeah, I mean, they just got to stop thinking about it and just move through the process, because you only literally learn when you do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Chris, I really appreciate your time. What's the best way for people to get in touch?
Chris Papadopoulos, you can find me on Facebook, and also my direct cell phone number is 919-280-8340. If you want to call me or ask me any questions directly, I'd love to talk with you and network with you.
Yeah, and absolutely. If you're in his market,
come visit me in Raleigh.
Yeah, I mean, I remember we talked about, or you mentioned the fact that new wholesalers. You even help train them.
Yeah.
Because you're essentially
Exactly.
training people that are going to bring you deals.
Yes,
so
yes.
If you're in Raleigh and you're not calling Chris, there's something wrong
I
with
love
you.
to talk with you. I love to talk with you.
All right, well, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you soon. Thanks.
All right, thanks.